it's never enough. What do you say when your friends turn away and you're alone? Tell me, what do you give when you give and you're all, and seems like you just can't make it through? You just stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand, watch the Lord see you through. After you've done all you can, you just stand. Tell me, how do you handle the guilt of your past? How do you deal with the shame? How can you smile when your heart has been broken and filled with pain? Oh, tell me, what do you give when you've given your all and seems like you just can't make it through? You just stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand, watch the Lord see you through. And after you've done all you can, you just stand and be sure, be not entangled in that bondage again. You just stand
keep on trying, yeah, till I reach for higher ground. Yeah, 'cause no one's gonna let me down. Yeah, 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 yeah. Higher ground, yeah, yeah. Reach for higher ground, yeah, yeah. Reach for higher ground. Oh, no, 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 no.
Can you handle the trouble? The song said reach for higher ground. We played two songs. One of them was what can you do when you done all you can? He said you just stand. What does that mean? For me it means that you stand and you let go and let God. And I figured that would be appropriate for today. It seems like I've been gone forever. I haven't looked at this beautiful face forever. We talk on the phone. Guys, you just don't know. Y'all thought we were gone. White people doing the checkoff on the list and everything. Because the title of the show alone would scare them. Can you handle the trouble? So you thought we were gone, didn't you? It's Sunday. I can't say what I want to say. So I'm going to say that's what you get for thinking. That's what you get. We back. We're going to be better than ever. We're going to be stronger than ever. And that's what I promise you I've been working on. Trying to make sure that we can give you everything that you need. But it's hard. It was a hard bit away working on other projects because there was so much going on. And I'm going to tell you right now, John Lewis had... I see why this man said get in good trouble. I see why we titled this show, Can You Handle the Trouble? Because there's going to always be trouble for us. Always going to be trouble. And we cannot afford to get complacent. While I was gone, we did our last show in May. Took a little bit of a hiatus because I was working on this show and working on some other great things. We're going to be, Denise and I too. Denise will too. We're going to be working with a young lady, Cherie Annika Vallejo. She's going to be running for LA City Attorney. And we're working with her. And I was honest to God building my corporation, my production company. I needed the background. I needed that wall. And it took a little bit of time. So being away, each day I looked at Rachel or looked at CNN and MSNBC. And I wanted to run in and cut everything on and call Mike and call Denise and say, let's go sit down. Because I couldn't believe when we sit down with you, the last time we sat down with you, we were telling you to be awake. We were telling you about the 300, a little over 300 new laws that had been in place to make sure that we went through hell to cast a vote. Now here we sit in July with 400. With 400. And where am I at with that? It's time to get in good trouble. It is time to get in good trouble. I have missed this. I can't wait for Denise to get started and, do her classy thing and let me do a few things. It's Sunday, so y'all got to forgive me because for y'all that want me to give you one, I got to give you a half. I can't do the full ones today. But we can let you know a few things. We can do what we're going to always do. We can't not do it. These are the same two faces that walked y'all. I'm going to tell you right now, Denise, our face should be on that damn thing when Joe Biden win. I'm going to tell you this, because we walked that, even through the pandemic. We walked that, so I don't care, guys, come hell or high water. She going to be on that side you see right now. You see me on one side, you see her on one side. It ain't nothing going to do that. Ain't no breaking that apart. I'm sorry, you try. But if you want to give us both a meeting apiece, we might lie to you. And you're going to see us dressed up in funny characters talking about, with a whole nother title, still doing Making Trouble. Because some things, like John Lewis said, are priceless. Some things are priceless. And I couldn't have picked a better person. I have to keep saying it every show. I'm going to say it every show. Because when you pick somebody that's gonna go with you down into it deep in the trenches, and they have experience, you know where you're gonna end up. And I met and picked someone, and this was meant to be. I had to get into that too because yeah, I had minutes when I'm like, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I have moments, especially with COVID, with everything that's going on, where I just want to just give up. And I look at this little lady, or I talk to her, or I think about her. I'm just sitting home doing some work, and I'm like, no, because she keeps doing it. She's been doing it for years since she was a teenager. I'm Johnny Come Lately. I always was aware, but I was always like, a lot of us think we can't fix this. We can't. What can we do? Oh my God, what can we do? Look what we have done. Tell Stacey Abrams we can't do anything. Tell Joe Biden, who Clyburn made sure pretty much took the election, picked it up, put it on his shoulder, walked it over to Joe and said, I know you're a little weak, so I'm going to throw a little bit of it on you right now. And we'll do a little bit at a time until we walk you through the White House. Denise, I missed you. But this is the place we're supposed to be. Now, there's a lot of things that went on, girl. But I'm going to ask you one question. Was the Chinese good? Was the Chinese food good? Had me wanting Chinese, girl.
Dionne sent me Chinese food yesterday for me and my whole family. It was wonderful.
Well, she wasn't feeling well. She wanted to get out and have her a good old time like she do and reminisce with her friends and buddies, And somebody forgot to tell her that, we back out now and of course we're going to have all kind of allergies and stuff. You know what I mean? She'd been in the house. So now that she's vaccinated and free and ready to get out a little bit, it's going to be a little issue, But I'm glad she's able to get out. Y'all don't need to be worried, Republicans.
Yes.
Yes. And your white supremacists, hide your women, hide your children, hide everybody. No, she going to hurt you. She going to tell you like a T.I.T.is.
I find it interesting with all of these with all these voting suppression bills happening across the country. First of all, there's a couple of things to consider. Number one, what they don't understand is they don't poke the bear. And poor and people of color are the bear. One thing they learned, all of them that would say my vote don't count, they saw their vote does make a difference. So that myth has been dispelled. And then, just as we predicted, winning feels good and it makes you want to keep voting because you already won. We won the White House, we won the senator's race in Georgia, and the maturity that has happened is they used to be able to say, oh, don't support this candidate because they're getting all this support from outside of our locality. But we've learned that there's no such thing as a local election for Black people. Every election in this country has an impact on our lives. And that's why it's important when you get an opportunity to join one of those groups where you can send a postcard, make a phone call, write a check for $5. We must stay engaged because these candidates can't do it alone and they can't do it by themselves locally. I only see with these suppression laws the abject fear that white people in this country are going through, the abject fear of losing control. And what's so comical about it to me, what's so ironic to me, is that when Black people become empowered in this country, we're always leading with humanism and compassion. We never have led with dehumanizing, depriving, or destroying communities. And, it used to be like this feeling that there were just a couple of rotten apples among the police force and they were dispersed and that they were not a community. And one of the things that has been revealed is there are very much a community nationwide through social media. This this attitude of buck breaking young black men that permeates their associations nationwide. And so I find it interesting that we're not hearing about any George Floyd instances again, because that put millions of people in the street, that put millions of people in the voting booth. But even though we may not be showing up in the thousands to events and rallies, no, we're just calmly waiting for the next vote. So they can put up all the obstacles they want. First of all, they're gonna all be appealed in the courts. First of all, they've got to pass the constitutionality smell test. A lot of them are not going to pass, and they're just wasting voters' money. The other thing they're finding is Trump's running around trying to still run the Republican Party and pick and anoint who's going to run in 2022, but all the people he's picking and anointing are not winning. So it's a big test right now about how much power does Trump still have in the Republican Party. It's going to be very interesting to watch how this all plays out.
It's going to be very interesting. The thing about it, though, for me, since you went there, and I'm glad you did, we're going to reverse switch, come back, because she went into a good direction. I say that because we're going to do some recaps of some things with some opinions of things that have happened since we've been away, just very touch it lightly. But she went there. And with this, my thought is, as we were saying, we're talking about John Lewis and everything that Denise is saying. And then we're talking about, for me, voter suppression. And like the fact that she's saying, we are, if we're not, wake up. But if you already are, stay awake. And as she said, look at what we've done. Do not, for everything they do, there's something we can do. I assure you. Because everything they tried, guys, we went through and helped. We did make and place the president we wanted in office. Through everything they tried to do to stop us. Through a pandemic.
And flip the Senate.
Flip the Senate. Put a Jewish guy. I mean that. I say it because that's the way the white supremacy look at it. I call it like they see it. And an African American in the White House. I mean, in the Senate, which is still the part of the White House. Put them in the Senate, back to back. I'm saying just one election. They both won. I'm telling you, I was sweating bullets saying, I kind of felt like one would win.
I remember that.
Yeah, I really did, which was Warnock. I really did. But when we got them both, just between me and you guys, I was crip walking.
And Warnock got more votes than Ossoff.
That's what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, we can do this. You know.
Now, the other thing to understand, though, is that there were 27 congressional seats being contested. Republicans won all 27 seats. So the majority we're holding on to in Congress was acquired in the 2018 election.
Mm-hmm.
So what that says is that when it came to Biden, understand now, when it came to Biden, Republicans crossed over for Biden, but kept their congressmen. Understand that. So what that means is what was it that Biden was talking about that was bringing them over? He talked about two things. This is for the soul of America and COVID, getting this virus under control. So whoever's coming up now, that's the winning message. COVID, 40% of all the COVID cases in America right now are in Florida. one state without
Wow.
Demings, without Demings is running against Rubio.
Well,
We
Val,
need to
you
pay
know what you
attention.
need to be. You listen to her. Wake up and pay attention, Val. That she's giving you a secret weapon. See, that's we're here. We never know who's listening, and she's giving you a secret weapon.
I'm not sweating Joe Manchin because Joe Manchin is going to be who Joe Manchin is going to be. Do I think, because I know you want to talk about this,
Hmm.
do I think when push comes to shove, he's going to come across for the filibuster? I do. But he needs his bragging rights. I think Trump in the last election, I didn't check my numbers. I should have. I think he carried West Virginia by 11%. So a double digit win. Yet somehow we still got this Democratic senator who's trying to walk the fence. So he needs the protection of being able to say, I saw Biden do everything he can to make it bipartisan. Republicans don't want to play, as usual. That's how they messed us up with Obama. They kept saying, if you give me this concession, give me that concession, give me this concession, we'll go along with you. Obama gave him every concession and then they still voted against his policies. Biden ain't playing that. But Manchin wants to be able to say, okay, we tried. I'm going to go for the filibuster. We will get that end of the filibuster. I firmly believe that. If we don't, we need to find somebody who can replace Manchin and Cinema in Arizona because they're hurting us. They're not helping us.
Yeah, without a doubt. So I'm hoping we're going to get it, and he is one of. My hope, and this is just me throwing it out there, Joe Biden, because these two women that really walked with you. Um, it's time for you to make a phone call. It's time for you to sit down with him and have a beer. It's time for you to have some kind of conversation with Manchin because everybody wants something. Because there's no reason we can't get this done. Now I know that you have all this integrity and you believe in the good fight. I keep telling you, Democrats, when they throw you in there with the sharks, you better learn how to swim like them. See, this is what gets.
God knows how to swim like them. You've been in the Senate for 30, 40 years.
Well, it's time for him to start the backstroke. Because, like I said, Democrats have been doing this Sunday stuff, we have been doing this so much. We are the wimp of the party, of all the parties. Because we try to walk the straight and narrow. Meanwhile, we had a president in office that is the main reason that should be held accountable for every death with COVID. Who should be accountable for so many things. And if this was him, the filibuster would have been gone.
And I'll tell you something. Well, first of all, McConnell got rid of the filibuster to get those Supreme Court justices in. So McConnell had no problem with getting rid of the filibuster, but McConnell had the majority. We have a majority only numerically because we have two Democratic senators that are not straight Democrats. So the politics are in play. And like you said, Joe needs to have a beer,
Mm-hmm.
figure out what would it take, you know, give them what they want, and get rid of that damn filibuster. Because if we don't, then he's only got like 2 years to put his agenda through. That's all a president gets. After that, he's in lame duck. So, he's 6 months in and he's gotten a lot done. He's got a lot of bragging rights. He's at 50% and better approval rating. Trump never even approached higher than 41%.
Girl, I gave him 0, so go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm saying, the economy is coming around. He putting money in people's pockets. That's, it don't get no better than that.
Anytime they calling you Big Money Joe. But
When my young startup families and my family got that $300 this month, they were like, oh my goodness, this is going to cover all the diapers and formula. It's making a difference
wow.
in their lives. Joe Biden is making a difference in people's daily lives. But if we don't give him the Senate and Congress he needs, then how much a difference he can make is going to be very limited. I think a president, they get to do 2, maybe 3 big things in the course of their presidency.
I believe you, because Obama's big thing was the Affordable Health Care Act.
And I think this infrastructure thing, it's going to happen. He's just got to break it up into two separate bills, which he's doing. And we've got to stay smart, and we've got to get a higher majority, a bigger majority in the Senate. And Dionne, you and I need to do our homework and figure out who can
do it. I know what you mean. We need to figure out who can be where doing what. You are so right.
I know they've targeted Mark Kelly in Arizona, who flipped a seat. He's Gabby Giffords' husband, that senator. I know they've targeted Reverend Warnock. I'm disgusted by it because they're targeting him, trying to get a friend of Trump's, Herschel Walker, the football player, who's black, to run against Warnock as a Republican.
Ain't gonna work.
Well, he wrote a book talking about his, he has real severe mental health issues, this Walker guy. So I don't know if he can get past that kind of, exposure he put upon himself.
I don't know if he can get past the fact that Warnock, for one thing, his link to Dr. King,
and John Lewis.
And so I'm saying, and I was going there, and the great John Lewis, both were great. But what I'm saying is that's apples and oranges. You get what I mean? You really think we that stupid? All skin folk ain't kinfolk.
It's insulting.
It's a big insult. It's a big insult. It's like when Trump threw Kanye West up there.
Well, I hate to put it this way, but it also, what it reminds me of, Obama got elected, and then the Republican Party made Michael Steele the head of the Republican Party. Michael Steele, leading the Republican Party as a black man, won more congressional and Senate seats than any head of the RNC before or after. And as soon as Obama was out of office, they kicked him out after one term, got rid of him. Now he's on MSNBC every day.
He's one of the main members of the Lincoln Project.
That's right.
But see, this is what they learn. Because I still remember the black senator or governor that spoke at some rally, and when he went to go shake one of them's hand, they snatched their hand away.
Yes.
Yeah, and yes. I'm like, you.
It was Tom Scott, the black senator from.
That's who it was. Yes.
One of them Carolinas.
Yeah, and I said, there you go, boy, just like they would say.
And he looked like a doofus, too.
He looked like a damn fool at that moment. That'll forever be. If I could play it over and over again, I would. But, John wouldn't want me to do that. So, he's like,
you would, no?
He want me to do good trouble. But listen, we're going to talk, like I said, Clyburn he really did, he in his own way, let it be known what he felt about the filibuster and everything. We're going to play a short video with Clyburn and just about his feelings about what he thinks should take place. There are two major things, as he was saying. Right now, our voting rights are hanging in the balance. This is not what John Lewis would want.
It's not a theory. It's really what's going on.
Yeah, I told again, we did our last show in May. We're back strong, but the point is it's barely been a month and a half, a little bit over, a month and a half, and we've jumped to 400.
And coming.
And coming. That's what I'm saying. And more. Oh, more are coming. Come on now. Let's let the people see the video. More are coming.
It focused specifically on Georgia's absurdly restrictive new voting law. Congressman James Clyburn of South Carolina is the number 3 ranking Democrat in the House. He, of course, endorsed Joe Biden when it seemed like Biden's presidential campaign might be flagging. That endorsement helped him win South Carolina, essentially the nomination after that. He's advocated that the president and Senate Democrats work behind the scenes to carve out an exception to the filibuster to pass voting rights protections. And Congressman James Clyburn joins me now. First, I wonder if you agree with my read of the prioritization right now of the legislative agenda of this Democratic administration right now.
Well, I think that you've got it right. with chronology. I'm not too sure that you have it right on the subject matter. To me, voting is the top priority whenever we're talking about politics. Now, that doesn't mean that on the calendar it will be voted on first, and that's certainly not the case here. But voting remains a top priority with us. All the other things are secondary if we can't get people to the polls.
Yeah, I mean, part of this has to always comes back to the math in the Senate and reconciliation. I think you've been very, astute and compelling on the idea that there are already carve-outs for different things that can't be filibustered, that this should be in that category. I just wonder if you feel like you've had more conversations or made any progress with that argument to the people that will need to agree with you to get to a resolution.
Well, I think I've made progress with a lot of people. I'm not too sure how much progress I've made with two people particularly, and that's the two senators who seem to be wedded to filibuster no matter what. I'm still working with them, and I think I am making progress. We'll see when the time comes.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know why I love Jim. I don't know why I love Clyburn. I don't, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he did pick up the election on his shoulder and take it on over across and hand it to Biden. It's
Because we all got an uncle like him. We
Yeah.
all got a family member like him.
yeah, and it's that these men, these women, these people have been in a fight for years, and if they know, we know they know.
Right.
You know, and we got to give them more respect and more homage than that. For real, we really have to. Looking at that though, I felt like Clyburn waited long enough to say something. Denise and I were just talking, and as she was saying, it's time for Biden to make bold moves. And this is her statement, and everything, and she's right. I only have one thing to say. And she explained that to me, and I let her explain it to you guys when I say this. I know she will. Kamala, you need to be in Joe's ear like a fly. You know how you be sitting there, you trying to talk to him, buzz and beat. Filibuster gotta go. You know what I mean? The electoral college gotta go. We only have so long, and she's right, in that time frame. And it's sad, but it's so much that we need to do. I read somewhere, I don't know how true it is, and I did read this, because they're doing a petition to do away with one of the Supreme Court justices. They found out that the FBI did not investigate Kavanaugh?
Kavanaugh.
They found out they did not do an investigation. So they're doing a petition so that the FBI can investigate him, because so many people did come forward. So they're so I read this. And so that leaves a seat that Biden can fill. Now, I'm going to let Denise tell you how we can fill another seat. And then we're going to jump back from Kavanaugh for just a moment when Denise, she's going to explain this right now. And then because of Kavanaugh and a few other, Harvey Weinstein and a couple of things, I want to speak on something that happened a while back, just a few weeks back. Just to let you guys know, we don't care about, we'll talk about that. Now, Kavanaugh, as I said, that leaves a seat, Denise.
Right.
Okay, so then what else can be done? So there are two things I want you to tell them. I said Kamala should be in his ear like a buzzing bee. And I think that they need to make sure they do what's right when it comes to Kavanaugh. But then we have, I still want to know your thoughts on, expanding.
So there's no constitutional guideline that says how many people can serve on the court. There's no maximum or minimum number as dictated by the Constitution. And they're called, again, Democrats are some of the worst with messaging, because it should not be called stacking the court. Because when you think of stacking the game, it always means you're doing something unfair. We should be talking about expanding the court. Yes, Kavanaugh should be impeached. Absolutely, he should be impeached if the investigation proves that he gave false testimony, because that's the only grounds he could be impeached on, if he gave false testimony. And from what I've heard, They just kind of like shut the investigation down. There was no finding. So now they need to follow through on the investigation. And if there is a finding that he gave false testimony as a sexual predator, then he got to go. It's a no brainer. Additionally, though, you have to understand there are, that would still leave 5 conservatives and only 3. I don't want to say progressive because I don't think they're progressive. I think they're true constitutionalists, you know? So I think that we need to have 2 more seats. 2 more seats. And then what we'll find is because Robert swings back and forth. I don't know why the Handmaid's Tale lady is sitting up there.
You talking about the last one they put in?
Yeah.
I hope they could find something with her. Nothing was done. Nobody really investigated. You don't know what may be in her closet.
I think everybody who, except for Gorsuch,
Yeah.
who was thoroughly investigated, I think everyone Trump appointed needs to be
Investigated.
really, you know, and the Supreme Court used to be the last bastion of protection. And one of the sad things, because what Trump has done is destroyed and minimized the protection of every institution he could get his hands on, whether it was the DOJ, the Supreme Court, wherever he touched, he polluted it and corrupted it from being a place that Americans could look at as a last defense. He did away in DOJ, he did away with the whole civil rights division. I mean, how he corrupted government, we're going to be recovering from for maybe 5-10 years. And the impact of that. And yes, we must clean up the Supreme Court. Yes, we must put more people up there. And I think that's something, it's on Biden's list.
You need to bring it up further, pull it up higher. I don't know how far it is on that list.
Well, he's been in 7 months, so he's got, 18 months.
Well, I mean, we just appointed a new attorney general, right?
Yeah, Garland.
Yeah, so I think get your job, get started fast. You're good at what you do.
Well, we've got to get a Supreme Court justice in there because, and I don't know why Breyer won't retire. Why do these guys? Because he's old. He's very old. They keep saying, "You ready to retire, Justice Breyer?" Who is a liberal, but it's like, Breyer, don't you want it to go on your record that you made room for the first African American woman to be appointed? Because Joe said if he gets to appoint a Supreme Court justice, it's going to be a black woman.
Wow, I wonder who that's going to be.
I don't know, but Breyer's old as Mount Rushmore. He gets money for the rest of his life.
Just let it go. But we can't say nothing because our girl held on Ruth to the dear end, and we needed her there.
Yes, and that was a mistake. She held on because Trump was in office.
Yeah, but see, she should
that.
have gotten out before Trump.
Obama, exactly.
Yeah. So
but they get their little hands on those positions and they don't want to let go.
But see, with her respect that she had, it's over now. But if she did that during Obama, I don't think they would have fought against her. They had a respect for her. So if she had kind of had an idea of somebody and she supported that nomination, I think it would have went through.
She didn't want to give up the seat. That as much as I honor her, that was a character flaw. Sorry. She put us in a terrible position. And then
This is how this woman got in.
But I will say this. Nobody believed that Trump was going to win. So I believe she was just waiting for Hillary to win so she could graciously step aside.
I do too.
Then she's in a trick bag.
Yeah, and then he won. I think she couldn't even realize I gotta live longer.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're right. So we'll say that. I do think nobody thought Trump was gonna win. So we're not bashing by no means.
Didn't think Trump was gonna win.
Trump still didn't believe he won. Between me and you.
Now he don't believe he lost.
Now he ain't gonna believe he going to jail, but he is. He's going. Y'all don't believe it.
Even though he's trying to still run the Republican Party, He's trying to run it like a mafia don. That's number one. Where all these people flying to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. Then whoever leaves the most slobber on his finger, that's who he anoints as his next person. But in spite of that, I think when the New York office of the FBI finished with his behind, because they're getting him good. They're coming for him.
He's gonna be another Leona Helmsley.
He's not gonna have any sway in the Republican Party, except with the crazies, who brings me to Gavin Newsom. Because that white supremacist group, which by the way, I should have reached the already. I've been telling my husband, I said I was there when it was decided that the Black Panther Party and the Weathermen and the SDS and all those groups from the 60s and 70s were a threat to America, and one by one the FBI started taking them out. They either killed them or they put them in jail. And they're already beginning to do that now with these white supremacy groups. They already busted one and took a bunch of ammunition. It went by fast on the news, but that's already beginning. Then we're here in California where we're doing this stupid recall that ain't catching nobody's attention whatsoever. So Dionne, we got to beat the drum on that because people got to get out and vote.
Got to take it's Sunday, out and vote.
Because the thing is Sunday.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the whole movement is being pushed by white supremacists, by the Proud Boys and their ilk. And it's just wasting millions of dollars that would better be put
in the homeless, in mental health care, all these things. And that's what Newsom is rerunning on or reiterating that it's about. And guys, what Denise is saying, wake up. Wake up. You can get out and go to...
We have to understand, our battles are not local. Our battles are national. What's going on in Texas with all those people in Washington, that's our battle. That's our battle. That those people are under threat of arrest. Those legislators from Texas who went to D.C. To stop those horrible suppression laws they're trying to pass. It's the only tool they had left in their toolkit. And they've already had 3 meetings with Manchin. And whatever he's saying, which they're not disclosing, but when they get interviewed after the meeting, they all say, I'm encouraged. Whatever he says to them, they're not ready to condemn him yet. They believe they're finding chinks in his armor. It's like the Chinese rock torture. You just keep dripping the water.
Well, that's what I think Biden is doing. Not to cut you off, I think Biden is trying to let Manchin see that I'm trying here. You know what I mean? I'm trying here. I'm trying. So if I'm trying, which is what you asked me to do,
right?
And I can say this for you. Call me and let me say whatever you want me to say. But these damn fools won't listen. They are so blinded by whatever this is that I can't reach them.
Right.
I'm trying. So don't let them tie my hands. Don't let them tie our hands. At the end of the day, you're doing a great job of walking that fence, straddling that fence. At some point, though, Joe, as we get closer, you're going to have to fall over to the side that you really believe in because you ran on a Democrat. I understand what you're doing, but you're going to have to fall over at some point. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right. And I think that this infrastructure bill, which West Virginia is sorely in need of, there are so many pockets of West Virginia that you and I living in LA can't even imagine an area that doesn't have internet.
Come on, I know that though, but you know I'm from the South.
Right. So this infrastructure bill is going to bring West Virginia into the 21st century. The piece of the infrastructure bill that Manchin's not supporting is what they call the soft infrastructure, which is daycare. I was one of those newlyweds who couldn't go to work because it costs more to put my kid in daycare than I could have earned at the time.
Wow.
So my husband worked, but we were a one-income household until my kids could go to school because daycare was so expensive for little ones. So this infrastructure bill would give everyone access to daycare so they could go to work and raise their income.
But you got to remind California something else since you brought up Gavin. I want to throw this in here real quick because you're saying things they better think about. You mess around, get your ass up Sunday and go vote. Pay attention to what's going on, Cali. We've been pretty lucky and fortunate. We have through all of this pandemic. We had money. People made sure they had food shelters. They provided things for people. We went above and beyond things that when I talked to family members or people in other states, red states, they couldn't believe. There were red states that the governor didn't even take the dang money. So that they could get the money because they say, I don't care if you risk your life, go out and get your job. Even in the midst of COVID, go to work. You guys, you got to put a Republican in there. Put a Republican in there. You better wake up and go and undo what these Proud Boys and all these fools have done. It takes nothing.
I tell you what frustrated me. I've been trying to think of. Okay, we already have marijuana legal, right? But when you have an off election cycle going on, you need something on that ballot that compels people to come out. And I was thinking to myself, what could get people out? And I think if they had created some kind of legislation around reforming the police, that would have brought people out. There's nothing on the ballot that is attracting people because I'm not hearing anything. Now, maybe because it's July and the election's not until September.
No, we need to start now. So you guys need to create something. Listen to her. People listen that you don't think listen. You need to do something that's going to attract people to get them out. Newsom. Make some phone calls. You know some people.
Right.
Get something else going. You're right. You are absolutely right, Denise. They need to do something else.
Because just like what happened with Hillary, people are under the impression, Newsom's going to win. Not if you don't vote.
If they got
Hillary lost the election by 77,000 votes. 77,000 votes nationwide. 77,000 votes spread out over 3 states. That's how come she wasn't president. 77,000 votes in a country of 300 million. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. So, but people were so sure that other people would take responsibility for them. Because when I vote and you don't, you're counting on me taking responsibility for you. And I'm saying we all in Cali, you want to keep this Cali the way it is? You better get your ass up and vote it Sunday or not.
And if you want something to kill your ass, look up what's going on in Kentucky, in Alabama, in Arkansas, in Missouri, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Florida. Well, she said 40% of the COVID is in Florida. And let's look.
I know this is a hot button issue, but I was a preteen when abortions were still illegal. My babysitter died committing a self-induced abortion. So I know how Texas is passing a law that says if you're pregnant past 6 weeks, you can't have an abortion. Heck, you don't even know you're pregnant until you miss your period twice.
Come on now.
It's right there. So what that says to me is that women who have unintended pregnancies will continue to have abortions. But rather than them being safe and medical abortions, it's going to go back underground. And women are going to start killing themselves because they can't afford to have children. And women of color will be the most impacted because to get an abortion, they'll have to travel to another state if they can afford it. And that's to get the first exam. Then they go home. Mm-hmm. Then they got to have the money to go back.
Yes.
And have the procedure done. And then they go home, which means only if you have middle income can you afford that. Who can miss 3 days of work when you're an hourly employee making minimum wage with no days off with pay? Come on now. They wanted to do that law not because there's some Bible beating Christians, because they're too full of hate to be Bible beating Christians. They want to do that because if they can make you have a bunch of unintended pregnancies, that will keep you in a cycle of poverty. And you're not getting access to birth control either. They're closing all the clinics. They're stopping. There's so much we can talk about when it comes to women's health. We need to do one show on just
We're
women's
gonna
health.
do one show on. That's why we here. We here to handle good trouble and make sure that we know that people understand what the trouble is, because there's always trouble.
And by the way, when it comes to abortion, if you don't believe in it, don't have one. That's all.
That's it. That
Don't
part
have
right there. Girl, you almost made me about to get up and start shouting in here. But you just said a mouthful. When you don't believe in something, you don't do it. Hell, speaking of that, and I believe in this, but she just says, but speaking of that, the Delta variant of COVID
Okay.
is a serious variant, young people, everybody. I'm saying young people because a lot of you guys not understanding something. Grandma and grandpa and mom and dad are getting vaccinated, and some of y'all are too. But the ones that aren't, you're going out here, you're still partying, you're still acting a fool. And I'm learning now that even with being vaccinated, there's a mother, this happens to quite a few people I've been reading. I'm like, but what hit me with this woman is that she's in the hospital and she's in serious condition. But the point was, she's fully vaccinated. Her and her husband sent the young son off to daycare, to camp. He came back and they contracted COVID. So, guys, people, young people, you still wear the mask. Still wear the mask. And I want to know, Denise, what do we do because we have kids that are under 12 and they're going to be going back to school. They still haven't had something for them for vaccination. So knowing this, and you're vaccinated, and the parents are vaccinated, what do we do?
This is my conclusion on this. And I'm going to preface it with my husband's a lot older than me by like a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that, he's like, Denise, we never talked about this. He said, but in my lifetime, I had friends who had polio. I never knew anybody with polio. Because when I was coming up, we got the polio vaccine and the smallpox.
Yeah, I got it. I got the vaccination.
You couldn't attend school without showing you got in the car. As a matter of fact, I got them in school.
Mm-hmm.
A community nurse came. We got the shot. We lined up. We got our shot. We heard everybody crying.
They sure did. They sure did. They still was doing it with me.
It was a big community health push. So I say that to say that smallpox and polio were not overcome by a vaccine. I mean, by herd immunity. It was overcome because everybody got vaccinated. Period. That's why those diseases no longer run the world.
So what do we do about the children?
So what I'm saying is this. Statistically, yes, there are children, there are babies dying of COVID. There are children younger than 12 contracting it and dying from it. And the loss of any life is horrible, but it's an incredibly small, minute degree. I believe no staff member, whatever level of staff they are, should be allowed to be around those children unless they've been vaccinated. Period. My friend who's in the teachers union, she says, well, what about teachers who don't want to get vaccinated? I said, they can go. I don't care.
I don't have a problem with that one, but I do have because I'm fine. I'm already in the act, so I'm happy now. My stuff came out good and everything, and I'll be up there tomorrow, so I'm okay. They ain't got to do with anything. I'm already at my peace with that, but I do have questions because I feel like, there may be a possibility my granddaughter may have to be here with us through January. So
she's so cute.
Yeah, but my thing is like, I don't want to deprive her of going to school. They still have the option of schooling at home. I want her to get out and socialize. You know, and unfortunately for us, the school is like diagonal from our home.
But I find that the children, because I was very concerned about Pixie, my little 5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
She is she has so adapted to the whole thing of wearing her mask and keeping it on and running around the playground, and
Oh, okay, okay.
the kids are fine. It's not the
Well,
kids.
see, you hit home. That's what I wanted you to say. Thank you. My thing was, and I even think the teachers that are vaccinated should still wear a mask. That's all.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm just
Everywhere.
saying, do we think they should still wear the mask?
I think so. I think that because one of the things that they like to throw at Fauci
Mm-hmm.
was that when this first started, Fauci said, "Don't wear a mask," and then he came back and he said, "Wear a mask." And the truth is that they continue to investigate, and that's what science does.
Yes,
As it investigates and understands better, it can give you better advice.
love it.
So we got a Delta variant out here, and don't nobody, and it's far more contagious and transmittable than COVID-19 originally was. Yes,
Wear the
all the
mask.
vaccines, whether it's Johnson and Johnson, Moderna, or Pfizer,
Pfizer.
are all proven to be able to resist the Delta variant. So, in my mind, if you have vaccinated adults
Okay,
and mask wearing communities, we'll be okay.
good.
You just don't take no chances.
Okay, because I was letting people know I don't give a damn if I had a shot. I'm
No,
gonna
I
still wear
still
my
wear a
mask.
mask.
Yeah,
I still wear a mask.
I'm
I
still
got
wearing
my
my mask
first
right
shot.
now.
I got my first shot in February, my second shot in March, and when I go to the grocery store, I wear a mask. Now,
She's the
yes,
first one in line, y'all. They have in
first one
line.
I with my
Yeah,
sleeve
they
rolled
had to,
up.
they had to tell her and her husband it ain't it's next week. Oh, we'll be back.
Oh, but I have this, but I have to tell you, I had to really try to understand any resistance at all and respect it and not poo-poo it. I have family who showed up for my birthday that was still not vaccinated. And you know me, Dion. I go off on a tangent.
Mm-hmm.
I try to stay respectful, but sometimes I start yelling. And the family member said to me, we were at In and Out Burger, no less, and said, if you could find me the one and done, because they have a thing about needles. If you could find me the one and done Johnson and Johnson right now, I'll get my shot right now. We went to the CVS. They didn't have any more. We went to the Walgreens. They only do 2 shots. We went to another CVS. They only do 2 shots. We went to the Walmart. Only do 2 shots. And then I was like, wait, they're doing shots at the airport. It's got to be the one and done because people ain't coming back a month later. We drove to the airport, not even knowing we were looking for Dion. And then we get to Terminal 6. That's how far in we were. And there's the sign. Park the car, no line, one and done.
Did I see how she is? When I wasn't ready, I wasn't getting near that heifer. Because I wouldn't know what she gave me. We'd had a drink. She probably poured me a whole bunch of scotch or something in there. I didn't know what was in it. And when I woke up, you
You be at the
vaccinated.
airport.
I wake up at her house. You vaccinated. You one down. Or you one and done. Yeah. And she's right. But I had to come to my own conclusion. And guys, it was never, this is one thing I want you to always know. It was never that I didn't want it. And it was never that I didn't believe it. Ever, ever, ever. It was never, ever that. For me at that time, people didn't know I was going through some things. I took a fall. I was doing this. I was feeling a certain way. And I did not know what it was going to do to me. And also all the medications. And when I had first made my mind up, my mom clowned and didn't go and left, and they had to fight to get her to go back. And she told the doctor, I have a lot of respect for y'all. Y'all saved me. But I take 9 medications. Until you tell me one of these medications I ain't going to interact with that, I'm going on home. And I'm sitting there thinking, dang, I take 14. So if people don't understand what some of it is, I will give you a great word for it, fear. I had fear for COVID, but my way of hiding from that was locking behind my door. There was a sign on my door, no mask, no entry. Really, it was no entry. I could count the people I saw. Denise with a mask. She knows this. It's the truth. We had made up in our mind, but then life starts to happen. And it started getting better this summer, without a doubt. So sometimes I am understanding to the ones that have fear or illnesses. And then I ran into a person that was in tears talking to me because she was anaphylactic, which means she can't take the vaccination. So I want people to understand there are people, don't y'all come using that as no excuse. Because I'm not, and she was, and that hurt me because that's another thing that woke me up. But she was saying, I'm condemned to wear the mask, to stay at home, and pray that others who, aren't like me go get vaccinated so we can reach a link of 70 to 80% that will really make it safer for us. And I really saw that in her conversation. I saw it in her. That hurt, and I never thought about that. You get what I mean? That what if the choice was taken away from me?
Right.
So everybody tried every way, but hey, God has his own way.
Well, there are a lot of people out there, like my family member, who just looking at a needle, they could practically faint.
Yeah.
And so I was excited to hear that they're testing now a pill.
I heard about that.
And that's good. So we'll continue to progress, and I believe, the woman who's anaphylactic, that's a significant part of society. She's not alone with that.
Yeah.
And something will be done for that eventually as well.
I hope. I pray.
We don't have a choice. Either we're going to find a way. They're working on a vaccination for little ones. I mean, we've got to be able to protect our
people, everybody, and there are people with different issues, so we have to be.
Dr. Biden, he's already convened a bunch of experts to anticipate and prepare for the next thing coming down the tube.
Because there will be, and he knows it. But Biden knows that Obama told Trump. He told them, and the CDC warned all of them, we need to be. Even they went. That's one of the first things. That's why I said we'll address. I hate bringing him up. One of the first things this man cut was funding for things like this, CDC funding and stuff. When he was told that something like this could happen,
we had an office in China, because we know China can't be trusted, that their one job was to monitor what's happening in China, what kind of outbreaks are happening in China, because they knew China would never tell us if something came up. He shut it down. There were 47 people over there. That was what they did. And Trump shut the whole operation down and brought him back because he was kissing China's butt. He wanted to put a hotel up in China, I guess.
Well, his daughter was getting a lot of stuff from, girl, I want all of them sitting on the bench in the courtroom. I want to see them walk, even if you don't give them but 6 months.
It's coming.
I want to see them all walked on out looking crazy going on the jail.
I just want their reputations thoroughly shredded. Go to jail, don't go to jail, but I want you to take the perp walk. I want you to have to get that mug shot. I want you to have to do the strip search. I want you to know what you've done to this country. And you know what? One thing about doing time that I know from my friends who've been in there, you ain't got nothing but time to reflect on your shit.
See, she said it was Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, but she very seldom slips. I know her buttons, and 45 is one of them. That whole family, that's a button. That's a big button. You see her out, just said Trump. Please don't.
He's about to lose big time credibility, except with the white supremacists, and he can have them. They don't make a big dent.
Well, I know. We
even now they talk about all the killings going on, the wave of gun killings that are going on in all the urban parts of America. And what's interesting is they said, now when you look at a city like New York, right, I think it's like at 13, 18 million people now. They said it's like 2,000 people that are causing all the trouble. But the courts are so backlogged from COVID that they should be off the streets, and they can't take them off the streets. They ain't even got no room to put them in the jails.
Wow.
That's another story for another day. But I do want to do a show on women's health issues.
We're going to do one on women's health, and we want to talk about, just like with George Floyd, we want to talk about the women that have been, Yes, murdered by the police. Because it's time for us to wake that up. Now, then he's not going to leave. We're going to leave after this because people finna get a little upset. And I'm going to go and we're going to get out. But keep in mind, we're about handling the trouble. We just call it like we see it.
Call it like we see it.
Yeah, two things happened. The young track star that didn't get to compete in the Olympics because of marijuana. Now, we done legalized marijuana.
19 states have.
Yeah. But the other thing problem I have with it is an athlete can go after they win and have a drink or two drinks or get drunk. And as long as they show up for practice, you know. And I ain't trying to make it bad for y'all where y'all can't drink. But what I'm saying is, what's up with the weed thing? I mean, and I saw that did you see that she got a nice commercial?
You got a nice commercial. She's in Kanye West's video.
That's the one where it says, with the Nike's part of that, where it says, live your truth.
Well, first of all, again, we're looking at, these old institutions with a bunch of old people sitting on the boards making the rules. Anybody who's ever been around marijuana knows it's not a performance enhancing drug.
That's what I said. They ought to let her run. They ought to give her a reward, because if you can smoke a little marijuana and get out there and win the race.
She'll be the fastest woman in the world. And then look at Simone Biles. They came up with a whole new way only for her of scoring her, because they said they don't want to encourage other gymnasts to try the things that she's so successful at that have gotten her the gold over and over.
But they did that with Tiger Woods. Remember, they rebuilt the golf course.
Then there's a black girl who's a fast swimmer that they told her she can't keep her hair in its natural style because her swim cap won't fit on top of it. So these are the kind of microaggression, racism that is permeating, in my opinion, the Olympic Committee. And we need to address it and not relax about it. And I hope when this cycle is over that those Olympiads don't stop raising hell and force change. And if they won't change, let's start our own Black Olympics. I'm done.
I am. I'm with you. Why don't we do those things anyway, Denise? Why don't we start our own? And because you so bold. You're going to have to, they rebuilt the golf course. Okay, now with this young lady, she can't wear the cap because she got to wear hair somewhere. Make another damn cap. Then this young lady, like I said, if it's no performance enhanced, listen, if you can smoke some marijuana, bend down on that on that track, and outrun everybody. You need not just the gold, you need the bronze.
They better hope she smokes a joint before she.
But
Give them a chance.
Ask the fellow was next to her. I bet they'll give it to her.
And there was some story about two white girls who had a similar situation, but they weren't penalized for some reason. I
believe it. Look it up, because I believe it. And guys, I'm gonna bring, y'all know me. I'm gonna mention one more thing, and then then please, everything I say, don't hold that against nobody. Nobody has these thoughts but me, and it's my opinion only. Bill Cosby was finally let go. Now, you guys had heard me say a lot of times, free Bill Cosby, and y'all, and honey, I am a woman. And I believe no means no. And I believe if you drug a woman to get what you want from her, you're a dirty, slimy Essence Sunday. And I do believe that I can look you dead in the eye and tell you that. And believe if you sodomize, do anything to a woman, if you hitting on her, making her feel less than herself, and making her feel that her body is more important than her mind, something that's not right. But I still believe, as a mother of 3 sons and a lot of friends that are male, that the court system is designed that I am proven beyond a shadow of a doubt of being guilty. And then we have a system that says if you are tried for something, or if you settle something in court and that document is sealed, it cannot be reopened. So when I said the man was set free, Hence, also, the man was already 80 something and blind. I don't know what went on between him and those women, and I do know it was a lot of women. And where there's too many women, I have to question it. I do. But I do know that if I promise you right now, if this show takes off and this corporation of mine take off, and one person come to work for me, and they say she's been harassing me, if it's some good money involved and I see Gloria Allright's ass, I might have to get ready to turn this over to Denise. Because I can promise you, 45 to 50 folks are going to come out that they just even cross my path, because if they smell money, they coming. That's not defending somebody. Because right now you got a state that's still upset that they lost their senator, Al Franken. And still nothing got proved. And the people were like, we didn't want, what did y'all do? Just do. But that's not Bill Cosby's issue. But the one thing that did happen was, it went to the highest court. And the highest court threw it out and dropped all charges. But they already knew it was going to happen. They just wanted him. But before it had happened, like we're talking about with Trump, he's guilty. He's put down on as a sexual predator. All this is done, and we already know it's going to take a year to 2 years before it reaches this court. We didn't care. But my problem is, and I ain't, damn Mark Kelly, he ain't even a thought of mine. He ain't even a piece of, he ain't none of my thought. My thought is, your Martin Lawrence, your Eddie Murphys, you know what I mean? We could go on and on. When they are doing great things, you're going to make sure you hype up something to destroy them.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. I had someone else on my mind. Martin Lawrence, I looked up his history to tell it to someone. I looked it up. And the one thing they had on there was about him having a stroke, but he had a bout with marijuana. Okay, Eddie Murphy was a transvestite. That's what you want to tell about the history of all this great work this man has done. Look it up. Tiger Woods.
My issue is, we need to back off the attack on Felicia Rashad.
Thank you.
Felicia Rashad went by her personal experience of working closely with this man for almost a decade, playing Claire Huxtable on his show. Interestingly enough, even Raven-Symoné said, I never saw or heard anything. The brother, his name escapes me, who played his son. Everyone in that show.
Malcolm Jamal, Keisha Knight Pulliam escorted him to court.
And Felicia even said how Mrs. Cosby was on the set all the time. She spoke her experience and her truth. And she had a right, and I applaud her courage that she was willing to say her damn truth. And now I see ads on Facebook and social media promoting this event with all these different Broadway stars who are participating, and people making comments about how, well, they'd go, except they're not going to anything with Felicia Rashad. Well, damn you then.
Don't go. Don't go. Keep your ragged ass at home.
You have a right. You have a right to say, because when I saw her come out, I scratched my head because I said, she's in her mid-70s. She does not deal with social media, the kind of backlash that I knew was coming. And I wish that someone had protected her. But I don't think she cares, because she's cut from that cloth. She's a woman of courage.
And her convictions.
And I know her. Okay, I've spent hours in her presence. In non-social events, just me and her, doing stuff for a community in Chester, South Carolina. I know this woman. I know what she's about. And so even if she knew about the backlash, I think she would have stood up and expressed her joy.
But look how long she had to hold. She held herself. That takes courage. That takes courage and endurance. It's like you and I.
Point is, you can disagree with her saying she felt joy about him being released, but you don't get to condemn her. until you've done 1/10 of what she's done. For instance, it's not well known that when Taraji Henson couldn't afford to attend Howard anymore, Felicia saw talent in her and paid her tuition as long as she remained in school until graduation and mentored her. But she don't beat the band about look what I've done. Look, I can't even tell you. I know the millions of dollars she's bought to different inner city cultural organizations. So, as my son Wayne likes to say, when it comes to condemning Felicia Rashad, you can miss me with all that.
Miss me too. Please miss me. Miss my whole miss me. And I'm big. Miss me.
Right.
And
Disagree, but you don't get to condemn.
no, it's like you here's what we're gonna leave it with. Unless you've done all the things that she's done. And in retrospect of that, some of that is also probably from the time with Camille Cosby and everybody knows the era. Let me tell y'all something. Condemn the man, hate him, do what you want. But I watch a lot of TV because I try to stay vigilant with my Rachel Maddow and stuff. So to kind of redeem myself when something goes through, I put on other things. But there's not a show I haven't seen with Erica Alexander, even the young lady that's married to Boris Cujo. All of these people walk through the Cosby Show or a different world. Every one of them. And then looking at that, I'm like, wow. Talking about giving black actors a start. And several of them, I didn't know, him and his wife paid their full college tuition. Robin Givens, you understand what I'm saying? I'm really quite sure he played a major role. And all of those kids that went through the show with him graduated college. But my thing about it is, ain't no saying live here. That ain't what I'm saying. All I say is, if you want the man, get him the right way.
Right.
That's all. If he was guilty, he's guilty.
Right.
Get him the right way. And that's what I feel Miss Rashad was just saying. You went about it the wrong way. That's it. Because to be honest, you didn't have to do no more dirt. Once you exposed him, he was exposed. Harvey Weinstein is getting the ability, he's getting afforded the chance in every way to get every charge looked at and addressed properly. Nobody's doing behind the scenes opening old paperwork or anything. If you're white, it's all right. Even if we prosecute you, it's gonna take a while. And he's in jail now. But the point is, we don't hear anything about it. We got to walk through every step with Cosby. And then when they opened the documents, everybody was like, "Wait a minute, how can you open sealed documents that the judge seal? The court seal?" So all I'm saying to get us. That's why OJ ass is out here walking around now. Y'all want to be mad? Don't be mad at us. Be mad at your damn self.
Right.
And don't be mad at Johnny Cochran. Let him rest in peace. Y'all did that.
Right.
And that's what we're going to leave with that on. Because see, John Lewis, the great John Lewis, told us to get in good trouble. And if you happen to be missing what that is, and how we can relate it to John Lewis, he was about truth and justice. And despite everything America had done to him, he was about the American way. And he also was about love and forgiveness. But in general, truth and justice. Justice. If any person, not just that man, anyone, could have been one of our children for all y'all out there coming at Felicia Rashad. You would want your son or grandson or somebody to have a fair chance in trial. And not be condemned just because he is the wrong color or something. Just a fair chance at justice. So that's all we're talking about. We're not talking about the act, and I hadn't told you the man was innocent. I said if you wanted him more, you should have went about it the right way. And how many people sit on it? We're going to leave it with this, Denise, because I know you know. How many sat on that court that overturned that? And then they didn't just overturn it, they threw it completely out. So you think those judges didn't know what they were doing?
Prosecutorial misconduct. He's walking because the prosecutor took a shortcut, figuring this is a black man. I don't have to do it by the numbers. So don't be mad at Felicia. She didn't set him free.
Didn't.
We covered a lot of ground today. We talked about white supremacy. We talked about the California recall. We talked about voter suppression. We talked about Texas. We talked about
the girl that ran in the Olympics. We have gotten into some really good trouble today, Denise.
Going forward, yeah, we gonna get some mail.
I know we are, but we can handle the trouble.
Right. And that's all right. That's what we're here for.
And speaking of which, Tavis Palace, I don't know, something went on with Tavis Smiley a while back, but I don't care about that right now because I didn't really get down into it. I used to love Tavis Smiley for all the things. I really did with the work he used to do with J. Anthony Brown and Tom Jordan when they were moving in motion and with everything. So I don't know what happened with that. But my people, I do love the fact that he is talking about John Lewis in good trouble. I want every American, every human being to understand what John Lewis is. And if a little bit of what he is can change someone, then God help us, because that's what we need. Because if you want to just have a little bit of something, or someone to emulate, he's quite the man. He was quite the man. And I say that again because he was the one that would always tell us to fight the good fight. And to get in trouble. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get in good trouble. Denise just said a litany of things we've covered. And we're going to start breaking them down. She's letting you know what different titles we're going to be working with. We are back with the spirit of John. We're sitting under the Edmund Pettus Bridge. We're finna get out of here. She's going to go on with her day. I'm going to go on with mine, but we want to give you the love and the welcoming to the show as John Lewis would want us to do. Here is where we want you to come in and handle trouble with us, good trouble, and get in good trouble. But I'm telling you, you can handle the trouble. I am JUSTDJOHNSON@gmail.com. Send us some letters and information. Next show, we'll have a flyer up. We're going to have everything up where you can go and you can just click on the button and go right there. We got a phone number now. We're getting everything set up for that. We're doing big things, Denise. We're going to have a phone where you can call in and really talk to us and ask questions. And we really will. We're working on that. It'll be done tomorrow. So, guys, thank my lovely, lovely host. The best co-host that I could ask for. Lena Horn, everybody. No. Denise Marie Ms. Harris. When I say a lady, like they said, and the lady know when to leave, and I can see it in her eyes, that lady is ready to go. She's got to get on out. And we're going to get out, but we want you to know that you're always welcome, and you are a part of this show, and it is for you and for the late, great John Lewis that we do this. And that's again, right. Get in trouble.
See y'all next week. Bye.
Good trouble. Have a great one. Bye.
Right now as my dreams, my
A cover story, The Legacy of an American Hero. Carry On Reflections for a New Generation is the last book from civil rights legend Congressman John Lewis. Robin, you sat down with the chief of staff who served with Lewis for more than 20 years.
Michael Collins, yes, more than 2 decades he served, and he knows how to get into good trouble just like John Lewis did. The congressman's final book touches on courage, it touches on voting, and not taking any day for granted.
We must say, wake up, America, wake up.
It was his rallying cry at the March on Washington and his life's mission.
We do not want our freedom gradually, but we want to be free now.
John Lewis, the civil rights icon and revered congressman, now sharing his lasting legacy in a new book, Carry On, Reflections for a New Generation.
When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have to say something, you have to do something. You have to push and pull and be prepared to make a little noise.
The book, a creation of recorded conversations on topics from courage to voting, shared just months before his passing from pancreatic cancer last year. This book, Carry On, tell us where he was in his life when he put this together, and what does it mean to be able to have this now?
This was to tell a story of just who he was, the simpleness of the man. And it was difficult because it was during the time that he was sick and he didn't have a lot of energy, but he made an effort to really tell the story. And that's what's important. He wanted to always tell the story.
A story of service and sacrifice. Michael Collins stood by Congressman Lewis's side for 21 years as his chief of staff.
He never took a day for granted. And he would say, let's get ready. We got a new day. Let's go.
And to know that, to know all that he went through, the many times that he was jailed, beaten, and to still have that can-do, the humility and the forgiveness that he shows, the happy dance.
I'm happy.
Tell us the backstory.
When he heard a good song, he would just light up. And on that particular day, we had a birthday party for him. Instead of singing happy birthday, we put on the happy song. And he just cut loose.
Nothing can bring me down.
It's right.
And that's the way he was. That was his spirit. That was his motivation, to be happy. He would say, just be happy.
Throughout his lifetime of fighting for justice and equality, the congressman never giving up on optimism and the right to peaceful protest. Writing this in the wake of what happened with George Floyd, what would he think of what is going on around the country?
He would be, disappointed in a lot of ways. The hatred, the racism. But he was optimistic that there would be a better day, a different day, a day where everybody would be happy, would benefit, would be put in front and not behind. He always looked for that.
And would he also, though, be encouraged by the young people?
Oh, yes.
Much like himself
yes.
back in the day.
Most definitely. I mean, it's what this country was built on, the youth movement. And that's what he always believed in. He talked to young people all the time. He traveled this country inspiring young people because he too was young and felt like he changed the world.
John Lewis has changed the world and continues to inspire with what he called good trouble, sharing these final reflections.
How do you want people to remember you?
That I fought a good fight. I kept the faith, and I kept my eyes on the prize.
How do we carry on his legacy?
He was intentional. He was purposeful. He lived a wonderful life, an amazing life, and we all benefited from it. And so I think that, he would want us to just carry on in a way that reflected his life and just learn about it, learn about everything we could.
And part of Congressman Lewis's lasting legacy is the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which has yet to be passed in Congress. He believed that the vote was sacred. Everyone should exercise his power. That's what he believed, and have the right to do so. And Carry On, Reflections for a New Generation is out now. It is beautiful. It's simple. It's real.
He changed the course of the country, but you also saw it in your conversation right there. He also inspired loyalty among those closest to him every single day.
When we played for Michael Collins some of the audio from John Lewis, he broke down in tears. Just hearing his voice, you could hear the impact, and he had people around him and he loved to have young people around him and to encourage him.
Sure did.
So, but it's a simple book. It's beautiful, and as we said, it is out now. Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel.